Welcome into a little Yankees Yap Sesh. It's your New York Yankees beat reporters Lou Orlando, Will Tallant, Nick Palmer, all gathered here at All-Star break to discuss the first half of the Yankees season. I mean, you look at the record, hey, 58-40, a game back of Baltimore. I think when you think back to the beginning of the season when we did our preview show, we'd probably sign up for being the third best team in the American League, fourth best team in baseball. But when you zone in and you see how that last month went, a 9-19 record to go into All-Star break, that goes back to June 13th, which is that last loss to the Royals, all up until the All-Star break. The worst team in baseball in that span. They finally won a series against Baltimore to go into All-Star break. They hadn't won 8 straight series before that, and it just feels like an utter collapse. Yankee fan kind of distraught right now. So what better time to gather ourselves and kind of check in with the team. The second half of the season, trade deadline, that's all coming up, and we have a little bit of a break here to really examine this team, what's good, what bad, everything under the sun.
Yeah, I mean, that Baltimore series was what the team needed in terms of just getting morale back to where they wanted it after such a great first 2 months. Blistering start, first team to 50 wins in Major League Baseball, and they can't even get to 60 after about a month of play since they got 50 wins. And then that last game against Baltimore, up 2 runs, a miraculous, finally a clutch hit. Ben Rice, a 2-run shot, gives the Yankees, it was a 3-run shot, yes, gave them a 2-run lead in the 9th inning, and Clay Holmes can't get the job done once again with 2 outs in the inning before the Orioles even scored any runs. So things of like that nature, it's timely play, and I feel like this is the conversation each and every year. It's not just timely hitting. It's not just making pitches. It's timely play in general. The Yankees are kind of all out of sorts in terms of that right now, and they needed this break. They needed this break big time. Who knows what's in store? We'll obviously get into what we think and what we thought of the first half, but overall, yes, 4th best team in Major League Baseball. Third
best in the AL.
Third best in the AL. I'm assuming that's behind Baltimore and Cleveland.
Yep.
So 3rd best in the AL. We'll take it, but that doesn't mean things are so great right now.
And I think you're frustrated because you know what this team can be. You know what you can expect this team to be. And a lot of it comes down to mistakes. And when mistakes decide games, like that last game in Baltimore,
Fundamental mistakes.
And it's not just errors, it's lack of hustle down the line, it's not thinking before you throw. A lot of this has happened to where it can really affect the mojo of a team going into the All-Star break, and you're right, it was completely needed. The Yankees got to figure out how to play fundamental baseball again because the talent is way too good for the situation we found ourselves in after that Royals series, because they dropped that series to the Red Sox, which they didn't look great. Then they had that series in Baltimore, or no, they had it at home, and that last game when they got rocked 17-5 was absolutely brutal. Then, you host the Braves, you don't win that series, you split the Subway, you get swept in the Subway series, which is absolutely humiliating for the Yankees. If they don't sweep that next Subway series, that'll be a tough one to swallow.
We'll be hearing about that for a little bit.
That trip to Toronto was brutal, even though they put up that 16-5 game, and we thought, are they back? They weren't. Getting swept by the Reds. The Reds just looked like a better team in that series.
That was a big gut punch.
That was a big gut punch, but the Reds just looked like a well-oiled machine. But it was that second Boston series when they hosted them. That was absolutely brutal. Go into the Trop, you lose that series, and then finally this Orioles series where it seems like those 2 games before the last one, excellent baseball from the Yankees. You thought, okay, they're getting out of it right before the All-Star break. Volpe bobbles a ball. Verdugo falls in the outfield, and you end up limping into the All-Star break.
And that right there, they both talked about it. They took full accountability on it because Verdugo can't be falling down there. He probably didn't have his footing. Obviously, he fell down twice, but that ball's got to be caught. It's not like Mullins smoked that ball.
Yeah.
The routine fly ball.
And in fact, that's I think the reason that Verdugo takes those 3 steps in is he didn't smoke that ball. It looked like it was off the end of the bat, a weak pop-up.
Exactly.
Just carried.
And Volpe, too. The Gold Glover. That's all I could say at shortstop. That error can't happen. But I zero in on Clay Holmes. The amount of base runners that are on in that inning is ridiculous. Seen it a few times. Boston, same deal. Why are so many guys reaching in the ninth inning?
I'm willing to give him a
happen.
pass actually on that one.
The
On
Boston one?
on the Baltimore one, I'm willing to give him a pass.
Well, the first two guys
Well, yes,
won, though.
yes and no in the sense of, all right, like Clay Holmes should have been out of that game, and we're not. If he gets that save, if Volpe makes that flip at second, or if Verdula makes the catch,
Or if they turn the double play.
listen, we're probably
yep.
not talking about it more than like, Clay really made us sweat it. Oh, Clay, you all-star, and then we don't talk about it for a little bit, but I'm not gonna sit here and say that like his whip's in a good spot. It's not right now. He lets up base runners.
His ERA's not even that great of a spot.
He's a contact pitcher. Not saying the Yankees can't do it. Can't have a closer that was a contact pitcher. Mariano Rivera was for 20-odd years, but hey, Mariano Rivera was the best closer in baseball of all time. So that's not a fair comparison. Clay Holmes is a guy that's gonna induce contact. Balls are gonna get put in play.
A lot of them are ground balls, though.
And they're gonna, but they're gonna find holes. People are gonna make mistakes, and so I'm not gonna sit here and say that like that's never gonna happen again. Even if the Yankees have good infield defense, which has been better in years past, the fact that Clay's control issues flared up in that game, which I thought he'd been solid about this season, although the whip's not in a great spot. But the way that he lost O'Hearn, I know O'Hearn's a dangerous hitter, but it's different from the Rutschman at bat when it was clear they're staying away from Rutschman. I think Clay's trying to attack O'Hearn there so that he doesn't have to walk Rutschman. But he walks O'Hearn, and he lost one of the batters earlier, and he almost walked Gunnar Henderson, got bailed out on a pitch that was called a strike outside of the zone. If Clay's control flares up, I mean, think back to that season in 2022 when he was dominant. His second half collapse was a lot due to control. He couldn't find the zone. He walked a lot of batters, and he was a shell of himself in the second half.
Not to put the full blame on Clay Holmes. He hasn't been that great as of late, to be honest. And the Yankees really need a big time strikeout pitcher. We'll get into that with the trade deadline talk, but the infield defense, as you're saying, Lou, it's just the defense in general. They have one of the lowest fielding percentages in all of baseball, too. Not going to win ball games for you there. But, Nick, what you were saying about the Reds series, just wanted to touch on that briefly before we get into anything else. That's an issue for the Yankees, not just with the Cincinnati Reds, but any team that is as young as the Cincinnati Reds, the Yankees are getting plowed. They're getting destroyed.
The speed is a problem.
The speed, but we talked about it when it was happening. The lack, this is also an issue, the lack of scouting and just a scouting report in general on the younger players. Even though everyone knows who Ellie De La Cruz is, Jonathan India, all these guys, they're younger players that haven't been in the league for nearly as long as a lot of the Yankees players. And when that happens, see it with Baltimore too. Like we all know how good Adley Rutschman and Gunnar Henderson is. You know what Grayson Rodriguez is going to bring to the table. You know what Corbin... Dude is a Cy Young. You know what he's bringing to the table. But if they are just younger than the Yankees, top to bottom, the Yankees are losing. That's an issue. That is a complete issue.
And to that point, the Yankees have the lowest sprint speed of any team in the MLB, 26.6 feet per second. The
Big
next
part
team
of why they're losing, too.
Are the Minnesota Twins, who are 26.8. There are actually a lot of teams tied for 26.8. The Yankees are the only team at 26.6. Also, second to last in home plate to first base. I think DJ LeMahieu might have a big part of that. 4.56 home plate. So it's not good. This team is not fast. Second to last in bolts.
And Volpe's not even that fast. He's their best base runner. He's fast, but
he's a good stealer. He's got good instincts. He gets a good jump. He gets that hop. Yeah, he's not in the top 10% of sprint speed.
He's not. But he's they have a stat fastest player on the team sprint speed. The Yankees are 12th, which is Anthony Volpe. So even then.
But here's the issue. He's the only one. He's the only one.
Right.
So come deadline, they need John Birdie back.
Yeah,
John Birdie really. It's like a Tim LoCastro, just an infielder.
Just a little bit more well-rounded.
A little bit more well-rounded. Not looking for pop out of him, even though he had a home run or two before he got hurt. But his defense and his threat on the bases is just phenomenal. When he hits a ground ball, because he's more of a contact-oriented bat, there's a shot he's going to beat out a double play. There is no shot anyone is beating out a double play nowadays. There's just no faith.
Let's do this, I think, as a springboard to get to anything else that we need to get to in this temperature check. Think back to the preview show that we did back in March, and we gave predictions for the final record at the end of the season, how many wins this team was going to get, where they were going to place in the standings. I think we both had low 90s, second in the AL East.
You had 91. I had 94. Nick had 107.
You had 107 first in the AL East.
Dude, it was there. It was there.
It was
there
right,
for 2
right
months.
So good.
It was right in front of us.
It looked.
It was-
Where's
it
my
was.
Kool-Aid?
So let's check in now. All-Star break, this team has 58 wins. How many wins are they finishing with? How many? What place are they finishing in the AL East? And we'll use the logic afterwards to kind of wrap up this temperature check.
I'm staying pat with what I had pre-opening day. 94 wins, second in the American League East. Baltimore, I just feel like Baltimore is winning the division. Now that we have a good sample size, 3 series, right? They only had 1 home series against Baltimore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 3 series against Baltimore. I think the Yankees could really match up well in a playoff series against them. For the regular season, though, Baltimore looks more of like a 100-win team, even though they've been kind of slumping going into the break. The Yankees look closer to a 90-95-win team. And they, in my opinion, they always did on paper as they were playing, and that's still respectable. But I'm going to stand pat at 94 wins, second in the American League East, first wild card spot. That could change, but I'm going to stay with my original prediction because I genuinely could still see that being an outcome for the Yankees. Even if they don't win 94 wins, they could still, if they're under 500, thank God these first 2 months were really good. If they're under 500 in the second half, they will still finish with relatively close to 90 wins, between 88 and 90 wins. That should be good enough to make the playoffs. Where you go from there, I don't know, but evidently that's the motto going into the playoffs as long as you get in. So
In 2022, the Yankees' first half was a 64-28 record. They went
Good times.
35-35 the rest of the way.
not great times.
In 2023, their second half was worse than their first half. I think it was under 500 ball. Am I supposed to believe that this year is going to be any different? Is there a stat that says, "Hey, this team sucks in the second half"? Probably not. There's no.
The
I don't
roster's
think
better.
the roster is better.
So much better than
There's
what they
more here to
had.
work with.
There's
Yeah.
more here to work with.
There was no Aaron Judge until August last year.
Yes,
And Jake Bowers was batting fourth.
you're right. This team
Billy
is
the
just.
It was a dark spot.
It's
dark time
shown
in, our
in
life.
previous years
No
that this
offense to Jake
team
Bowers. He did fine.
That's good.
they haven't been able to produce in the second half. This team is different. I believe this team is different. I say that every year. This team is different.
This is the one.
Okay.
That's the one.
Yanks are putting up 96 wins, 97 wins, and I'll be optimistic. 97 wins for the Yanks. They'll come in second place in the AL East. WC1. And I'm okay with that.
Before you give your take, could I just say something?
Hop right in.
This is what I'm nervous about for the second half.
Talk to me.
I think I'm not going to switch here. This is what I think is going to happen. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. They're going to come out of the gates hot. Like they're going to have a great end of July, good start to August, and then they're going to get cold again. Because that is how this team has played over the last 3 or 4 years. And that's where they won't take the jump to being like a game behind Baltimore, or more like 4 games behind Baltimore. They will hit another rut. Hopefully it's not 9-19, but I think they come out of the gates swinging, gain some ground, maybe take some ground, do something at the deadline, but then there's going to come another time in August where it's like you're in the dog days now. I could really see that happening with this team.
Here's where, can I sway you on this a little bit?
Talk to me.
I agree that I think they come out pretty strong in July. I don't know if it's like dominant, but the schedule is Tampa for 4, Mets for 2, Boston for 3, Philly for 3, Toronto for 3. That last Toronto for 3 is August. That's the start.
okay.
That's the
okay.
start of August. But after that 3-game series in Toronto, August looks like
It's an easier month.
August is Angels, Texas Rangers, White Sox, Detroit Tigers, Cleveland, Colorado, Washington, St. Louis. St. Louis dips into September a little bit. That is a very doable schedule. Now, the Yankees team that got swept by the Reds is not cleaning up in that month.
That's
and
why I
obviously
have my qualms.
there's some good teams in there, but if this Yankees team is just anything better than the absolute trash show that it was going into All-Star break, they should be okay in that month of August.
The only reason that I'm convinced that this team will be a WC1 team and not first place is that the Orioles have an easier schedule than the Yankees do, even in the second half. The Orioles have the 23rd hardest strength of schedule. Yankees are 19th. But the best part, or maybe the worst part, about finishing WC1 means that you played the third best division winner, which probably means you're playing the AL West.
Oh,
winner,
yeah.
It's going to be the
Houston.
Astros.
which means you're going to be playing the Houston Astros in the first round of the playoffs.
Feed it, finally.
Feed it to you?
I don't know. We need it.
But
I don't know.
I don't know. It could end up being Cleveland, though. Depends on how hot Houston gets.
Yeah.
If they continue to play like they're playing, they will get to 95 wins. I think that they have a shot to get to 95 wins, even at 93.
Yeah.
Where's Cleveland on that list?
In terms of strength of schedule, they have the second hardest schedule.
Ooh.
There it is. There it is.
Well, I
The
said it.
Yankees played Cleveland really well in that first series. Different ball club now, different times. Cleveland's also a lot better, but I don't know.
Let me give you my win total. I'm going to snuggle in right in between you guys. It's just something I like to do. I think I'll go 95 wins. Because you were at 96, 97. You stayed at 94.
Yeah.
I'll go 95. I mean, I think this division comes down to the final week. And I
can
think
see that.
I think that there's going to be a time in the second half where the Yankees are in first place. They're going to leap Baltimore at some point. Baltimore's not going to go away. I think Baltimore does end up winning this division. I'm not surprised that the Yankees end up winning it, though, because I think it's really close. I think no matter what, the AL East ends up being the number one seed in the American League. And so I think this is the big swing, is you'd really like to win this division because, as Nick said, if you're wild card one, I think you probably, unless Cleveland falls off again, that schedule is not going to be easy. But it's either, the way we're looking at it now, a tricky Cleveland team, or even though Seattle's in first place right now, I think we all read the tea leaves. Houston's storming back. They're going to get healthier, and they're going to be a first place team in the AL West. And again, you're not. Here's the other thing: if you get first place in the East, you're playing the Orioles round one. So I guess, or it doesn't. It kind of doesn't matter. You just have to be good, right?
It depends. Let's think about it. If Seattle finishes third, no wait, how would it go? Baltimore would have a bye. So
that's true.
Yes.
Baltimore would
about
have
that.
a bye, and then Houston would have a bye if they finish second.
Correct.
So I think
You want Cleveland first round?
I would take Cleveland. I would take Baltimore. But that wouldn't happen though, because those top
Baltimore
two
would
teams,
be a really fun. This is way down the line.
Baltimore, Houston.
Baltimore-
You avoid them in the wild card. The Yankees,
Baltimore
I think,
would be a
could
really
would be
fun
fine.
ALCS matchup.
Would be
That's
really
way
fun.
too far down the line.
Way too far.
Oh yeah, it's the All-Star break.
I think the main takeaway here is this Yankees team can be good, and there's reason to buy in that
They
this
need Stanton back.
that this last month is not who they are. Beyond the fact that they're going to get healthy, beyond the fact that they're going to add, the team that was on the field for the last month is better than 9-19, and we've
100%.
seen it.
100%.
So let's kind of dive into. There's a lot of individual conversations that we need to have regarding specific players, and rather than just go down the roster, that's boring. We can do fun little segments and have fun. Three guys that like to have fun. How about that? We're gonna start with Yankees MVP, but there's a caveat because we're bad people. So you're not allowed to pick Judge or Soto because, hey, Aaron Judge is the MVP frontrunner. Juan Soto is the second MVP frontrunner in the American League.
in the American League.
Both really good, both all-stars, both started. Fantastic players off the board. Take them out. Who's been the best Yankee this first half of the season? Will?
Despite the last few times that he's taken the ball being rough, I think it's very easily for me Luis Gil. The
Absolutely.
fact that they were able to get an under 2 ERA for 2.5 months from a 25-year-old who just recently turned 26, recovering from Tommy John surgery, and then was talked about starting the All-Star game, ultimately didn't make it, but still in Rookie of the Year conversations. I think the MVP outside of the two in Judge and Soto has to be Luis Gil. It just does. Offensively, nobody really, turns the page. And I think it's a little too early to say it's Ben Rice. He's been a nice revelation. But Nick's looking at me like he's going to pick him. That's funny.
He's cooking up something.
I said it was too early. That your opinion is your opinion.
Do we want to dig
To me, it's a little early.
Do we want to dig into Gil first, or do we want to get all our answers on the table and then talk about them?
Let's get all the answers on the table. I'll go with Luis Gil. Ben. I called you Ben.
Ben Oppenheimer? Where's Ben Oppenheimer?
Nick Palmer.
I hope you called me Ben because you were talking about Ben Rice. Otherwise, we might have a problem. My answer is Ben Rice. My answer is Ben Rice. I'll get into why, and a lot of it has to do with circumstance because I'm seriously worried that the Yankees might have lost almost every game if Ben Rice was not in the lineup.
Not that point.
He
Go
did
ahead.
provide a lot of RBIs.
I don't have a ton to pick from. I think Will took the main answer, the number one answer that a lot of people would have. You went a different route. I like the vibes of it. I'm gonna go Luke Weaver. I don't know if that's
Nice.
a super popular pick. I'm staying away from Clay Holmes for a lot of the reasons that we talked about. Luke Weaver, I don't know what the expectations were for him coming into the year from the majority of the fan base, but for him to come out, pitch to a 2.47 ERA, a .80 WHIP, have some strikeouts to his game, 9.5 Ks per nine. That's not nothing. He's got electric stuff, and this bullpen, after Jonathan Loaizaga went out, was in a really bad spot. And we were already talking about this bullpen as, brace up, everyone. It's not the typical Yankees bullpen that you're used to the last 5 years. It's not as deep. They've lost a lot of the names that you used to see come out of the pen and lock down the game after the seventh inning. For Luke Weaver, not just to be a dominant setup man, to be a consistent 2-inning guy. And the Yankees don't have a ton of those guys. They usually stay away from them, even when their bullpen was stacked. For him to be able to fill this multi-inning role, 7th, 8th inning stuff, set them up late in games, especially given the structure of this bullpen right now, I'm scared to think about where this team would be if Luke Weaver hadn't stepped up big time.
Yeah, the bullpen definitely was not deep. I think even with Loaizaga, it really wasn't that deep. But Luke Weaver has definitely been a tremendous piece to the entire team. And sometimes he goes like 3 innings. Now that his stuff is like really, they're like, okay, we need to save him, not just eat these innings. It's been really cool to see because he's definitely been one of, if not the best relief pitcher that the Yankees have in their bullpen. They got to add a little bit of depth. They are getting Scott Efros back. He was activated on Sunday or Monday, whenever the first day after the first half was. So Efros coming back, that's good. They still need to trade for somebody. Luke Weaver is probably their best strikeout arm outside of Canely, maybe. But even Canely is more contact oriented now, I would say, than his first stint with the Yankees.
Canely's got 10.8 Ks per nine out of the pen, and
that's pretty solid.
It's been nice to have him back healthy. He's been another really solid guy that he deserves some love. Maybe we'll give him some love later in the show. But I mean, let's dive in. I want to start with Luis Gil just to dive into this a little more. We talked about at the beginning of the year, kind of a low pressure, high reward opportunity for Luis Gil here that. Don't know there was a ton expected of him, but slotting in as the 5th guy in the rotation, a guy with nasty stuff. You saw the way he dealt in 2021 when he was up and down. And I was big on him, but he exceeded all expectations. For the first 2 months, he was the best pitcher in the American League, and it probably wasn't close. And obviously the league adjusted a little bit, caught up to the fastball, but he adjusted the arm angle, and he adjusted again. The last 2 starts have been really, really good. And to think about, again, that without Garrett Cole, we didn't talk about this Yankees rotation as a problem. Even after Clark Schmidt went down, we didn't talk about this Yankee rotation as a major issue. A lot of that has to do with Luis Gil and the fact that he's been, for the most part, a reliable every 5 days guy.
He absolutely has been. And he's still, you look at his line now, he's 10-5 with a 3.17 and 102 innings pitched.
You would have signed up for that at the beginning of the year.
100%. He leads the league in walks, 118 strikeouts. But the walks, though...
He leads the league in walks? I know he walks a lot of people. I didn't know he led the league.
Well, and that's, I think, Boone... I remember one of the post-games saying, he's got the stuff. He's still learning how to pitch.
He is still learning how to pitch. It's very evident especially if you look at his stuff. It's very electric, but there needs to be more there. As you're saying, Lou, everyone pretty much caught up with the fastball. So he changed the arm angle up, and then he has a very good start once that became a thing. So with him going forward, it's going to be trying to mix and match pitches, develop more pitches. We're not quite there yet because he's still really young, and you don't really do that in the middle of the season.
He's 26, but baseball terms, he is young because this is his first full season.
Right.
Like 2021 was the only other time that he got consistent run before the injury, and even that, it was, in all things considered, pretty limited. So in terms of MLB experience, he might be 26, but it's kind of like a Judge situation, except a little more injuries related, where it's like there's not a ton on the baseball card yet.
And a lot of learning to pitch, like you said, will come with learning to find the near edges of the zone without throwing a strike. His chase rate still isn't there. He's not really fooling people outside of the zone. He's overpowering them inside the zone. So I think that will get better as he goes. Strikeout rate is fantastic. When people do hit him, they hit him hard and in the air. The barrel rate is not something that's lovely, but also, that'll come with getting people to go for pitches that aren't necessarily in the zone. He's been fantastic. Little worried about the innings as that go on. They'll probably shut him down.
Yeah.
But as long as he's healthy, and I just don't want them to shut him down, and then it comes playoff time, and he's not the same Luis Heel. That is my biggest
That's a
worry.
concern.
Very
Yeah, that's a
prospect.
very legitimate concern.
I want to hear more about Ben Rice.
You want to hear more about Ben Rice?
Feed me some arroz.
I'll feed you some arroz. We all know that he can hit the clutch home run. The absolutely
He's
most
done it.
clutch home runs. He hit 3 home runs in that fateful game.
You were there.
I was there. And then I got to talk to him the next day. That was fantastic. And then he had that big home run in Baltimore in the 9th inning.
Mm-hmm.
That was huge to send them to go choke a game, which sucks. But that's Ben Rice for you. Besides hitting home runs, what I love the most about Ben Rice are his at-bats. He is in the upper echelon of the league in terms of chase. He does not chase outside the zones. When he misses, it is inside the zone, which we love to see. He hits these big home runs, but his bat speed isn't crazy. That'll come with more age. He slugs like nobody's business. He barrels the ball like nobody's business. That ex-WOBA 402 is wild right now. But I love the walk rate from Ben Rice. I absolutely love the walk rate. He puts up competitive at-bats in every single one. But I think what makes me the happiest about him is the circumstance that he came into. Anthony Rizzo goes down. He fractures his arm. It's looking like J.D. Davis is going to be Can you imagine if J.D. Davis was our everyday first baseman?
I could not.
We wouldn't have won half the games. I feel like we would have won. That guy is a walking double play. He sucks. And I'm so glad that Ben Rice was there to rescue that corner of the infield, because we would be in really dire straits because Anthony Rizzo's not coming back till mid-late August.
That probably.
We would have
he was
J.D.
out
Davis.
8 weeks whenever that happened. His first Boston series. So.
And even if you don't have J.D. Davis, even if you put DJ LeMahieu at first base, after DJ LeMahieu and Oswaldo Cabrera have the 2 lowest OPSs of qualifying players on the Yankees.
I think if Cabrera got a little bit more play, though.
He got a lot. 270 at-bats already.
But once DJ came back, I know he kind of cooled off. I don't know. I just think that Cabrera, if they really want him to be in this role, they got to play him a little bit more. He just provides a lot more life than DJ, too. You hit from both sides. That right there is an advantage. You have the advantage anytime that you step up, whether he's obviously better left-handed, but the fact that he wins that matchup just by standing on either side of the plate is important. His defense at third base has looked a lot better too. Yeah. So I don't know. It's kind of a toss-up. They definitely need help on the corners. But going back to Ben Rice, I think there's a very strong possibility he just kind of flexed Anthony Rizzo off of this team in 2025 because they need to keep Soto. Shed what is Rizzo making, like $16-17 million?
Isn't Rizzo an FA?
I don't know, actually.
I'm pretty sure he's a free
I think
agent.
he is a FA, but it probably cements that he's not coming back.
Yeah.
He is an FA. Okay. Yeah. So he's making $20 million a year.
It's the
so
it's
playing
the
the minimum.
It's a
Rice.
Similar conversation that we'll get into with Glaber at the end of the year, where we've kind of talked about might be Glaber's last year. Arrow was kind of pointing in that direction. Guys like Glaber and Rizzo get pushed out when people like Ben Rice emerge.
Goes into the Soto fund.
And Ben Rice will be an interesting conversation come August when Anthony Rizzo comes back. That if Ben Rice is still doing this, and this is not just a flash in the pan, if the league adjusts and he adjusts back and he's still giving you quality at bats, top half of the lineup guy, I mean, how do you not keep him in the lineup? How do you not find ways to do it? I know he can play catcher too. Like, you're gonna have to find ways, right?
Especially with Trevino down.
Yeah, Trevino down for.
It's
what did he
It's
do?
like 8 weeks. It's a grade 2 hamstring
It was
strain.
8 weeks.
I think we might be seeing Ben Rice
Wow.
catching after the All-Star break.
Yeah, because then that really opens up. I didn't
They
know it was 8
called up
weeks. I didn't
Carlos
even see that.
Narvaez. He's the backup right now.
Okay.
It's just curious. Boone hasn't ruled out Ben Rice playing catcher.
He
It's-
hinted at it, yeah.
Do you want to have 2 lefty catchers?
That's the only problem.
In Wells and Rice. Where is Rice defensively? Like, obviously Trevino, platinum Gold Glove guy, can call a great game. Like, where is Ben Rice game calling at? He's caught 1 inning with the big club so far. Really interesting conversations, and like, who knows? Maybe Trevino and Rizzo get back at similar times.
Maybe they trade for, and this would offensively this doesn't work out. But do they dare go for a Martin Maldonado?
That would be so funny. He's on the
A
White Sox.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It seems like the Yankees may get somebody from the White Sox.
I don't know if they're in the business of purchasing fossils, but okay.
Defensively, though,
Yeah, Maldo can call a game.
Let's dig in our teeth a little deeper here. We ignored Judge and Soto. Judge has 34 home runs, a 1.1 OPS. Soto is right behind him with a OPS in the 900s. They've been awesome. They've been the 2 juggernauts in this lineup. But as hard as it is to believe, there are some good sneaky role players on this team that have stepped up either out of nowhere, just contributed in a way that maybe being undershadowed. So we're calling this our sneaky link segment. We're going to go around and say one guy that we're sneaky linking with because under the radar, they've been really good. Will, I want to start with you again.
I'm going to go Austin Wells.
That's the one.
Austin Wells. Stat line doesn't say it. The last few weeks say it. Overall, though, it's Austin Wells for me. I think he's taken a step forward defensively now that he has a full year with Trevino. Offensively, like I said, he's really come around more so. I mean, he had a missile against Baltimore.
He got onto Utah Street. He's going to have a plaque there.
He's going to have a plaque there now. So I'm going to go Austin Wells. Really liked his first full season so far as a Major League Baseball player.
I love that.
I love his at-bats. Even when the stats
they're
don't
getting
reflect
better.
it,
They get better
he's
each time.
working great at-bats, I'd say, this last month. He's coming in off the bench sometimes and working these great at-bats that are just visibly better than some of the guys that have been in the starting lineup.
Like that 11-pitch walk that he worked, or 10-pitch walk that he worked to score the run with bases loaded.
I know John Boy and Talking Yank, the guys at John Boy Media, asked him if he was considering a leadoff Austin Wells. He kind of shooed the idea off. I think that would be really interesting because right now, I think he's seeing the ball really well, and the quality of at-bats, he's seeing pitches. I think that's a guy that take advantage of Jose Trevino's injury, let him eat at the plate, let him get consistent run time because the at-bats are really getting in a good spot, and I think you're going to see that follow with a boost in the stats.
And he takes. That's the biggest part that we're saying here. That 11-pitch at-bat against Baltimore, he had a 10-pitch at-bat against Kenley Jansen in the 10th inning to get. I know it, and here's the problem: Volpe comes up 2 pitches, double play. It's already over. So, in terms of a starter, how about 20 pitches in the first rather than 8? Cutter Crawford had 54 pitches in the 6th inning.
Yeah, it was absurd.
On Sunday Night Baseball.
Yeah.
They just swing. I love that. I think Austin Wells in the leadoff spot would be pretty cool.
Nikki, who's your sneaky link?
I cannot believe I'm saying this because this is a guy that I've trashed since day one of him becoming a Yankee, but he has proved me so wrong. My sneaky link is Michael Tonkin.
Oh, you stole mine.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But I would I don't even want him to be my sneaky link anymore. I need to link with Michael Tonkin every day of the week. This guy, from season to season, the changes are remarkable. The only stat that he has gotten worse at, everything has gotten better, is his walk rate, which means that Michael Tonkin is pitching aggressively. He's going after batters, and it is rewarding him. He has had so many bad seasons. He has never had a season, I don't think, with an ERA under 4 until this year, where he's posted a 2.36.
Do you want to know? Because I had these stats prepared because this
ahead.
was going to be my sneaky link, and I think maybe we've both been linking with him, and we just figured out that we've been doing this at the same time. It's complicated. It might affect the friendship. Tonkin with the Yankees let me get the innings right, in 36.2 innings pitched.
Yeah.
A 1.47 ERA. Prior to coming to the Yankees, that was a flat 6 ERA.
How about it?
With the Twins and the Mets. So praise be Matt Blake, because he has done this again and again and again, and you can cite, last year's Ian Hamilton, I think what he did with Wandy Peralta. You can go down the list of a lot of the Yankee relievers that became household names were Matt Blake projects in recent memory. This year, I think it's Luke Weaver, but more important, I think the bigger and more impressive turnaround is Michael Tonkin, because he was just a throwaway ad off the waiver wire, and now he is, I don't know, the 4th best reliever on the team. I throw him behind Canley, Weaver, Clay.
Canley's been rocky the last.
I'm just gonna.
But talent-wise,
I'm gonna trust the resume there on all 3 of those guys. At least what they've shown me in the first half in their career. But Tonkin is getting close to being a trusted 7th inning guy.
I will be so real. You throw in a Yankee reliever not named Clay Holmes with a runner on first and second and nobody out. I want Michael Tonkin there to induce a ground ball and a double play. The guy has induced so many double plays.
Play that he got where he got amped up. I want to say was
energy.
Was it the Rays series? I think it was the Rays series.
Yeah.
Bases loaded. The double play that he induced got me fired up. And it's like sometimes we don't get enough of that from the Yankees. I know that's like a stupid fan thing. Sometimes you don't see enough of that.
No, you've got to get fired up. Are you talking about the 2-1 win in the Trop recently?
I think so. It's the one.
Yeah.
It's the one where it was a quick shovel from Volpe, and then Glaber whipped the ball to first base. It was a fast guy coming down the line. I want to say it was who's their shortstop? Caballero.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think it was him speeding down the line.
fast guy. Yeah,
Or it was one of their faster guys. Glaber whipped that ball around, and they just beat him for the double play.
He has. Okay, there are 2 kind of FU attitudes on the Yankees. There's Carlos Rodon FU attitude, and there's Michael Tonkin FU attitude. I'd like to see a little more FU attitude on the Michael Tonkin side, rather than the kind of pissy,
Yeah.
Rodon's
Almost pouty.
attitude is not where we need to
Yeah.
be. It's almost petty.
I was gonna say
the blowing
pouty.
the kisses and pouty.
Yeah.
Carlos Rodon is pouty. Michael Tonkin goes in, does his job, and does like a little Sevy scream. It's amazing.
He's just like 6'6" and lanky. He's fun. That I wanted it to be mine pick. It's not, so it's okay.
That's both
We're
of your
gonna pivot.
picks.
We're gonna go away.
Both of your picks.
We're gonna go away from the bullpen a little bit. Again, I think I get stuck with the 3rd worst option here, but I do think that he hasn't been given proper treatment from the fan base. Trent Grisham has been hitting well lately.
As
And
of late,
He's
yes.
swinging the bat.
he's starting to swing the bat more. When he swings, he's making it count. The extra bases are coming. I'd say if you look at the stats the last month, he's been one of the more reliable guys again behind Judge and Soto and Ben Rice. I would not say that the level of pride or the level of consistency is anywhere near what we've seen from Wells, what we've seen from Tonkin. But Trent Grisham is a guy that used to be an everyday starting fielder, gold glove kind of guy.
Yep.
Kind of got piled on when he made that ugly error in center field against the Red Sox.
Oh, I forgot about
Trying to field the ground ball, they take second base on him. That was a real gut punch, and you saw a lot of Trent Grisham haters come out of the woodworks. I still think his defense has been largely good in center field, and the at-bats are getting better. He's come up with big hits. I think back to that Rays series. He's come up with big hits at a time where this offense is largely struggling. So I just want to give him a little bit of credit. Again, I think valuable alone to have a guy who, in theory, is a bench player that you can have come in and play great defense in center field. And if he gives you anything with the bat, hey, that's a bonus.
You're right to say Trent Grisham, actually, because in a lot of the Yankee wins during the bad stretch, it's either been the Trent Grisham game or the Ben Rice game.
Yeah.
Though it's okay. Which one of
Against
them
the
showed up
Dodgers?
tonight?
Yeah, that Trent Grisham home run. That's a great take. Yeah, against the Rays, that only win that they got in the Trop, all because of Trent Grisham.
We want Grisham.
The flip side, not so nice conversation. Kind of fitting with this team the last month or so. Come on, man, is the name of the segment. These guys, frankly, haven't been that good. We probably expected them to be good, and there are more than a few guys on this Yankee roster that are just not cutting it right now from what we expect from their talent level. So this segment is, come on, man, highlight someone that just hasn't been getting it done so far. Nikki, I'll start with you.
Alex Verdugo, come on, man. let's get it going. The first month was fine.
It was good. I was happy to have Verdugo for the first 2 months.
You've made some great plays in the outfield. You don't strike out a lot. That's very true. I have never seen anyone swing the bat softer than you have. Your bat speed is awful. You do not barrel the ball. I never feel like when you hit the ball that you're about to hit a tank into left field. You're a lefty at Yankee Stadium. I think I've only seen maybe 2 or 3 no-doubters from Alex Verdugo the entire year. The rest of them, he's grounding out a lot. He's popping up.
A lot of double plays.
A lot of double plays from him. And it doesn't feel like we can get on Gleyber Torres for not running hard. Alex Verdugo also does not run very hard.
And that was the thing going back to Boston. I think he and Cora got over effort stuff.
Effort.
That was a big tit-tat between them.
And this was supposed to be the dog. We've been calling him a dog the whole time. The dog has to put in effort.
The whole dog mantra did kind of go away.
It did.
It's been a while since I've heard like
They haven't
barking.
been dogs, so
I felt like
they've
it was
actually been the worst team in baseball.
But even before like this most recent month, I feel like it went away after April. I didn't hear the barking anymore. Am I tripping?
I think with
they-
home runs they still do it, but
And they
I think
still,
it's
when they
less
get on
frequent.
base, they still
I
do
might not be
this.
locked in. That's my fault.
No, but I don't hear the barks. You're right. We used to hear it from the
but you
Yes
know what?
broadcast.
That might be a TV
Yeah.
thing. We don't know
Could
if
be.
it's just the broadcasts.
Well, like I said, they're in such a bad state right now that's probably not what they're going to pan to, because people are going to raise havoc about that. It's like, why are they barking? They're 9-19.
George
So-
wouldn't stand for this.
Oh, there's a lot of things George wouldn't stand
So
for on
much.
this Yankees team.
All right.
I've said my piece. Alex Verdugo, come on, man.
I was gonna pick my come on man as Alex Verdugo, but
Go
there's
pick
a lot.
him.
There's a lot of options
There's
here.
so many options.
There's a lot of options, and I really wish it wasn't this guy, but it's gonna be Anthony Volpe. Did I pick yours?
Yeah. Well, I'm going.
Well, there
going
once
last
again,
every time.
there's a few different routes
Yeah,
you
there's
can
a
go
few
to
different
as
routes.
well. But Anthony Volpe started unbelievably. I thought he was going to live up to the Silver Slugger prediction that you had for him, Nick. 'Cause
I
he
said
was-
that?
You did. You
Oh.
said Anthony Volpe. There's a TikTok and everything.
How's that doing, by the way?
Wow.
Can it be deleted?
6 home runs, 32 RBIs, batting .245, 300 on base. See, the problem here
Come on, man.
was that 245 was like 280, and that 300 was like 395, and the OPS was also like 750, which not
I'd
lighting
take
the
that.
world on
I'd
fire,
sign up
but
for that. No,
he
he's
was
been-
batting leadoff.
He's been one of the
So-
worst hitters in baseball for the last month.
wasn't-
He doesn't have a home run.
Wasn't
a
he
month.
hitting 300 at the beginning of June?
Oh, it was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, and then through that month, he kind of like cooled off, but he was still like respectable above 280. So now he's not even in the leadoff spot. He's also not stealing as many bases, and we kind of talked about it with the sprint speeds and all things of that nature. But the Yankees don't have anybody else to steal bases, so the immediate notion, if Anthony Volpe's on base, he's a base stealing threat. He's the only one on this team that will actually run. So therein lies
the
an
rub.
issue. Yep, exactly, the rub. Power gone. Don't know where it went. It's kind of a little bit of a Gleyber Torres thing.
May 13th was the last home run.
Unbelievable. We're over 2 months now. Is that real? Is that a real stat?
I think that's true.
Oh my God, I didn't even know that. 21 home runs last year. I don't think he's getting there. That's okay, but Anthony Volpe, come on, man. Another thing too that I don't really like with Volpe right now, the just exaggerated size and come on mans on strikes. Like,
Oh,
yes,
yeah. Yeah, it's
Anthony, that ball was in the strike zone. That ball was at your knees. Swing the bat.
John Boy was saying he's not seeing the ball well, especially on the outer part of the
But
play.
that
He's
was-
taking a lot of those outside pitches, and he's struggling when he swings the bat. On those
Yes.
outside pitches, it's all weak ground balls that he's rolling over. He's not going oppo that much anymore.
Don't roll your
I
eyes. It's a
agree.
blatant strike.
Yeah.
And then he gets so aggravated, and it's just such a bad look, and you're not playing well. Anthony Volpe, come on, man.
Come on, man.
That's all I got.
There's an easy one for me to take. I just don't want to do it. So I'm
Wait, can we guess? Can we guess?
Yeah.
Is it Gleyber Torres?
It's DJ LeMahieu.
Well, no, I thought the easy one was going to be Rodon.
Oh.
'Cause
There's
the year-
so many.
Come on,
There's so
Rodon.
many of them
But
three
I'm
people.
not. No, I'm not gonna go there. I'm gonna go Gleyber Torres. But listen to the tone of my voice. Come on, man. Come on.
Oh,
He's-
that's a hopeful come
That's
on.
a hopeful. Come on, man.
Hopeful, come on, man.
Inspiring, even.
Gleyber Torres, when right, is one of the best offensive second basemen in baseball.
Agreed.
Definitely top 10, borderline top 5. Did not get off to a good start this year. And has had some defensive woes, has had some base running woes. The at-bats have gotten way better since he got benched in Toronto. I want to say, was that Thursday? Was that a Thursday game, the 27th? Did he get benched on the 27th?
And he got sat for 2 games, right?
He was kind of hurt, though.
He was hurt. He was
The groin injury thing happened in Boston, or happened against Boston, too.
Right.
He was hurt.
Groin
It
injuries
wasn't.
kinda
It
flare
was
up
an
on him.
injured benching. He came back on the Friday versus the Blue Jays. So let's pull up the stats since August, or not August, definitely not August, June 28th. Because the at-bats have gotten way better. He was awesome in the Baltimore series. And I see the light. I think he's due for a big second half. And that would be a huge boost for the New York Yankees that
Huge.
they need another bat there in the middle of this lineup, even with getting Stanton back. I don't know that that's enough. And again, I think Gleyber Torres can be that guy. I firmly believe. We're waiting for StatMuse to load. Gleyber Torres, since June 28th, 326 batting average, 6 RBIs, 6 runs. I don't have OPS in front of me on StatMuse. The stats are good.
The power is once again not there, though. That's what concerns me, because this team somehow, after so many different constructions of this team, has no power outside of Aaron Judge and Juan Soto. Nobody
Ben
really
Rice.
hits home runs. Ben Rice hits home runs. Gleyber Torres over the last 2 years. Last year, I knew he was good, and I'm looking at his stats again. I didn't know he was that good. He was like really good.
Oh,
last year.
23 Torres?
23 Torres was really good.
Gleyber Torres doesn't
Really,
get
really
the
good.
love that he deserves as an offensive bat. And it's true, he's far from a perfect player. I'm not sure that he's a player that the Yankees are going to bring back. They're probably not. But Gleyber Torres, ever since 2019, when he hit the 38 home runs, has gotten a lot of hate from this fan base. And man, there are just times where I'm really proud of him. And I'm glad that he's really started to turn things around. And so this is a very positive, very uplifting. Come on, man.
I like the optimism.
Yeah.
Personally, I think they're going to trade him.
You think they're trading?
Hey.
him?
I think that he's a part of a deal to get a bigger major league talent.
So let me just hit you with this. I have the full Gleyber Torres' full stats since June 28th. 326 batting average, 386 on base percentage, 819 OPS.
That's awesome. That's why
And-
they should sell, because they didn't sell last year, and you'll get some kind of return. I wish Gleyber would stay. I'm making it seem like I want him gone. I don't, but they didn't trade him last year, lost value, and they're not. They're not bringing him back because you're bringing Soto back.
I agree.
Here's
They're
the
not. I agree.
problem, though.
I agree. They're not bringing him back. Gleyber Torres is more value. A good Gleyber Torres. This Gleyber Torres that's hitting above 800 OPS. He's probably not going to hit above 300, but high 200s batting average, low 800s OPS, maybe
265,
low to mid.
Mhm.
That is way better for you in a year where you're chasing the World Series, because right now you only have 1 year of Juan Soto. That's more valuable to you than whatever return you get back for Gleyber Torres to salvage the fact that you're giving up on it.
And also the problem is if you trade Gleyber Torres, you're making DJ LeMahieu your everyday second baseman, and then you're making, if you're okay with having Ben Rice as your everyday, unless if you get a first baseman back in the deal or you go shop for him somewhere else, it's so valuable having a second baseman who can hit. If he can keep hitting like the way he has been recently, then I don't want to trade him. But he will be a starting second baseman on whatever team he ends up on next year. So
This is a good combo. This is what we're ending the show with. We've gone a little longer than we probably thought we were gonna, but it's been good. It's been good talk, good yapping. It's a yap session. Trade deadline coming up July 31st. Next 2 weeks is gonna be big for the teams figuring out who's selling, who's gonna be buying. There's a lot of teams in the middle. We have an idea of the true sellers, like the White Sox are selling, the Marlins are selling.
Yeah.
And other teams will join that fray pretty soon. As we've covered, I think, so far in the show, Yankees have a lot of issues. Offensively with the bats, clearly they need more. Pitching-wise, listen, the starting rotation, for as good as it was, the last month really struggled and was one of the worst rotations in baseball. The bullpen has been inconsistent and clearly needs more depth. Clay Holmes leads the AL in blown saves. So there's a lot of different directions that you could go. What areas, what players are you targeting at this deadline coming up 2 weeks?
Well, the first time we had this conversation, it was infield depth because there wasn't really a lot of holes on this team. Now it's like a lot more than that. They need power, and that comes at a premium, especially in this day and age in baseball. They need corner power. They need bullpen arms. They need a lot. They need catching now with Trevino out. They're not going to solve all these issues. A lot of these are off-season issues. If you are Brian Cashman, you need 2 relief pitchers, and you need 1 starting infielder and 1 backup infielder. You need to make, I would say, 2 to 3 trades, get 2 of what I just said in 1 trade, and then have the other ones follow. The problem here, the system, not that great. Underperforming farm system. Spencer Jones, he's great. Best prospect they have right now. I don't count Dominguez because Dominguez should be the starting center fielder. If he's healthy, he's the Yankees starting center fielder. So he's not in this at all for me.
But you'd have him start in the playoffs if he's healthy?
I still think it's a question mark. I'd like
It's a
I'd
question
like
mark 'cause
that to
he's
be
been
the case.
so hurt this year.
But you just don't know.
If he came back when he was supposed to, probably.
Yeah.
Oblique injury, that's tough.
You
That's
can't
really
you
tough.
can't bank on him being the starting center fielder. It'd be an
No.
awesome bonus. if he is.
2025, absolutely
I'm banking on it.
starting center fielder. That's why I don't really put him in the prospect conversation because he's just better than a prospect. Spencer Jones, though, 74th ranked prospect in all of baseball, and that's the best the Yankees have. So it's kind of tough. It's really, really tough. They drafted. I thought this year they had a really good draft. They went heavy on pitching. They needed to replenish their pitching. They
Heavy
didn't
on
really have a lot.
stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy they got from Alabama, Ben Hess, good stuff. Really liked it, but don't really see anyone that they drafted going anywhere. But they have, they need to get a strikeout arm in the bullpen. If anything, if you can't get anything done, you need a strikeout arm in the bullpen. And I'm still on this bandwagon here. It's not even a bandwagon, but for lack of a better term, Ryan McMahon is not getting traded from the Rockies. That seems pretty evident. The Rockies are really reluctant to give up on him.
He's so good.
He is so good. He would fit really well at the Yankees.
Glove.
Not so much a power hitter in this instance, but Brendan Donovan, I just think would
You
fit
think
the
you think
Yankees.
they're giving up on him either though? He's been awesome.
This is my crossroads here. The Cardinals are second in the division. They're 4.5 games out.
Yeah.
They're still in the wild card. This is a team, and we were talking about it before we got on. Teams are going to pick a lane in the next 2 weeks. They're going to pick a lane. If the Cardinals are really bad, they may need to pick the kind of seller mentality here. Maybe Glaber's in a trade there. Once again, I think they might, don't think they should. But value with Gleyber. You could get more from the Cardinals to deepen your infield if you let Gleyber go to St. Louis.
I'll say this. I mean, we're not that far removed from the Yankees trading Jordan Montgomery to the Cardinals for Harrison Bader.
Right.
Although,
We are not.
if you're saying that you're learning from your mistakes, That's not, well, I don't know. It's not, I don't think it's one that aged well for what they were trying to do that year. Harrison Bader was awesome in the postseason. And did they need Monty that postseason run? Probably not. But in retrospect, you look at what Monty's done, you look at what Harrison Bader's done, and the way that his tenure ended with the Yankees. I wonder if they would want that one back.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know because, like you said, Montgomery, I don't even think he started a playoff game for St. Louis. They made the playoffs because he was so good. Don't think he started. They were bounced in 2 games. Bader was he was the only life.
You know what?
And he won a
I
World
guess
Series for the Rangers.
The difference,
He did, but now he's really
the different.
bad.
I think the difference is that Montgomery. I feel like there's a thought with Yankee fans that if the Yankees didn't trade Montgomery, that he was coming back. That thought is not there with Gleyber Torres right now.
Right.
So if you're under the impression
Someone will give him a lot of money.
that if Gleyber's gone, again, I can understand why you'd want to trade him, but it has to be obviously MLB pro talent, and it has to be something that's going to be better for the lineup than Gleyber Torres is, or just more useful in various ways. Like I do think if the Yankees traded Gleyber Torres to get Brendan Donovan, as good as he's been for a utility player, the lineup getting better. I don't think the lineup's getting better. You're solving an athleticism problem. You're solving a backup infielder problem. But again, you're taking away a starting second baseman that's starting to hit.
But you get more. Like I think that they would get more from the Cardinals. It wouldn't just be Donovan for Torres.
That's true.
I think they would get more. Don't think they'd be able to get Tommy Edman in that trade. That'd be a lot, I think. I don't know if Gleyber has
maybe
that much
like a
value.
bullpen guy.
Could get a bullpen guy. I don't really know who's in St. Louis
Probably
bullpen.
Probably not getting Helsley.
But yeah, no, not getting Helsley. But I don't know. I think Michael Kopech. Shout out Lauren Mondarulli. She said Luis Rengifo.
That's
She
what
was the
I
first
was going to
person
say.
that brought that to my attention, and I was like, I like that.
There's so many
I think that's
reasons
great.
to like it. There's so many reasons. First of all, 800 OPS
Yeah,
from
he's having a great season.
and 22 stolen bags. The Yankees need it.
Does he
The
really?
Yankees need it.
Wow.
Yes, it would be excellent to have him. Plus, he's a utility player, so you solve the third and middle infield problem all at once. You can stick DJ LeMahieu and Luis Rengifo wherever in the infield. Thrilled to have that. It would be great. Great. It would be fantastic. Yeah, fixes all the problems.
You said Kopech. I'm intrigued by Kopech. I know they've been tied to Garrett Crochet. I don't think they're getting Garrett Crochet.
They don't have this farm system to do it.
No, and like Baltimore does. So they're probably,
Baltimore has the farm
Baltimore
system
and
to
the
get
Dodgers
him
do.
and Skubal. They can get both if they wanted to.
Right.
Kopech to me is interesting again. That's a guy that inconsistent control issues, so there's red flags there. But you want to talk about strikeout stuff, you can infuse that into your bullpen, and that gives you a very clear strikeout guy. He has a 5 ERA, so that is obviously you worry about that.
Send him over to Matt Blake.
But 12.3 strikeouts per 9. So if the Yankees can tap in and buy into the Matt Blake effect of you're still going to have great strikeout stuff, but we're just going to throw your 2 best pitches, and that ERA is going to go from a 5 to a 2.5. Everyone signs up for that, and all of a sudden you have an electric guy in your pen.
I would take a 3.3. 2.5
I would take a
that's
I
a
would
big
love
jump.
that.
I would love that.
Well, I'm pumping up Matt Blake because I think that's the type of stuff. Matt Blake transforms pitchers fundamentally. It's
Michael
great.
Tonkin has an under 2 ERA with the Yankees. So
The one thing we were musing about back here, I know that the Yankees have been tied starting pitching. It's less so about whether or not the Yankees need to get starting pitching. I don't think they do because you have Clark Schmidt who's hurt, plus you have the 5 guys in your rotation right now. I think the rotation's going to balance out and be fine down the stretch. Do the Yankees need to go all in on adding bullpen when you think about the postseason and you go, realistically, there's only 4 starters in the rotation. Now, who those guys are, it's Cole and then fill in the blanks. Is it Heel?
In the playoffs, yes.
I think we'd all say probably Heel, Nestor at home, and Stroman. And then maybe that means that Rodon and Schmidt are going to the bullpen. Like, does that solve issues? Like, Rodon has strikeout stuff. Clark Schmidt can have strikeout stuff. It gives you a couple quality arms in the pen. I'd feel more comfortable with at least 1 to 2 more like legitimate bullpen guys. But you wonder if the Yankees think about come postseason time, they should make the playoffs.
I think they should.
There's going to be starters in the bullpen. I know Luis Gil has been the second best starter in the rotation, but we talked about he's probably going to get put on an innings limit. And I thought back to Nestor Cortez. We looked it up. He took about 3 weeks off that 2022 season, his first year when he was fully built up to be a starter. They had him sit for 3 weeks. He came back, was nails in September, but they brought Nestor back as a starter. That rotation wasn't as deep as this rotation is. Heel stuff would play in the bullpen. That's a fact. It's just, do you want to take that arm away from the rotation?
I don't think it solves what they would need to win the World Series, because they got to win the World Series. They can't. Another collapse would just, after this year with another collapse, it'd be gut wrenching, because really don't know what this team is going to look like. It's going to be a completely different looking team time next year,
Yes.
100%. So you got to go all in. Tanner Scott, if it takes Tanner Scott, Michael Kopech, whatever infielder you get, I think Rengifo would really be. I think Rengifo would be better than Donovan. Rengifo's been really, really good.
Yeah.
But you need big names like Scott and Kopech. Scott can also close games as well if Clay's not on. They also need left-handed relief pitching.
They don't have a quality lefty.
Caleb Ferguson hasn't been that great.
Gonzalez. Ferguson's been tough to watch.
Gonzalez wasn't great. Thought he's been better than Ferguson, though. But
I agree.
Still,
Tim Hill's been okay.
He's been okay. Definitely has been okay, but once again, not like that left-handed arm that you want out of the bullpen. He eats innings. He's a lefty. They need more out of the bullpen. Tanner Tully. That's who they were throwing out there for left-handed pitchers in April. And that was an issue. That was an issue. They didn't have lefties from the jump.
Tim Hill's been good though.
He's been solid
since
coming in, but they still need another. They need a good lefty out of the bullpen. So maybe if I were to give an A+ deadline from me would be Tanner Scott, Kopech, Rengifo. The price tags, don't know. Think all three of those teams are going to jack them way up.
It'll be expensive.
Be very expensive. The farm system may be depleted. But
Spencer Jones wouldn't be a Yankee.
I don't think Spencer Jones will be a Yankee after the deadline. If they're going all in, I don't know if Jones is there anymore.
Which one of those guys does he get sent for? Who's got the highest? Is it Tanner Scott that right now has the highest?
Scott.
The price on Scott, though, I feel like is going to be wild, and the price on Rengifo is going to be pretty high.
Yeah, but I think
I don't know if I want to pay. I don't know if I want to pay for overpay for Tanner Scott. To be honest,
that's
with
the thing.
Depends.
Yeah,
depends.
I think I'm willing to buy. I'm more willing to buy into Rengifo and Kopech. Kopech's stuff is great, and I think Matt Blake could fix him.
Scott has a lot of familiarity with the division, though. Used to play for Baltimore.
There's a lot there.
Yeah.
Listen, this Yankees team, I think we all agree, it's talented, and it has a lot of the core pieces that can be part of a championship-winning team. It needs some work. It needs some players to step up, and it needs some outside help. We'll see if that happens in the next 2 weeks, and we'll see if that happens down the stretch of the season. I think that does it for our All-Star break check-in. I don't know if there's anything else that we need to hit on.
I think we checked in. I think we've really checked in, and
we've
we're going to check out,
we've
and
had
we're going to check into the second
thorough
half.
yap sesh.
Brian Cashman, come on, man.
A fourth come on, man.
Wow. To close it out.
Yeah.
Wow.
He needs to get going.
That's a great way, a perfect way even, to end the show. For my good buddies, Nick Palmer, Will Tallant, I'm Lou Orlando, your 3 New York Yankees beat reporters. You can catch our coverage for the rest of the season.
Going to Cooperstown tomorrow.
They're going to Cooperstown tomorrow. We will be doing a live MLB trade deadline show in studio, so look out for that. And look out for Yankees content all season long. Until then, thanks for tuning in. Go Yankees. Take care, everyone.